I mean, I consider myself a titular princess. Because some people have seen the film already, they already expect for me to be a certain way. We have this opportunity here. What can we do? Sometimes we feel guilty. Some of the best work that we can do is here. So supporting organizations like Otoo or African Services Committee, African Hope. These communities are like in the trenches.
Welcome back to the Everyday Superwoman Show. I am your host, Kim LaRue. And did you know that there's a princess living in the Bronx? Well, there is. And her name is Rockyatu Otoo. Welcome to the show, Rocky.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. I know that you were the star of a documentary that aired on PBS,
Yes.
Bronx Princess.
Yes.
How did you land that gig?
It was completely by coincidence. My mom, I blame my mom. She's such a charismatic personality. She just draws people into her. And we own a little tiny beauty supply shop on Mount Eden Avenue, right when you get off the Fortune. And there was a mural right across the street from our shop dedicated to some women who unfortunately died in a fire. And so the community made that mural. And the two filmmakers, Yoni Brooke and Musa Saeed, were filming about that mural. And they used to come into my mom's shop and charge their batteries, use the bathroom, and she would talk to them about some of her medicinal practices. She would talk to them about some of our culture, and they were just mesmerized by her. And then they met me, and they saw how we interacted, and they felt like it was the perfect opportunity to tell the story of a young Ghanaian American girl who was like of the diaspora and of Africa. And that was me. I was a senior in high school. I was the star of the school musical Aida. I was going to Ghana to see my dad. I haven't seen him in like 4 years. So it was like a summer of transitions for me. And they were like, "You're the perfect subject." So I was like, "Sure, why not? I've never done anything like this."
How long did it take for them to film the whole show?
We started filming, I would say, around April. And then we didn't end until I got to campus at Dickinson in like August.
Okay.
So it was like 5-6 months almost. And they came back in September too to get more footage.
Right.
So it was nonstop filming, following me everywhere. I mean, like when I would go shop, when I would go to the gym, when I went to prom, my rehearsals, they were with me at all points in time.
But you were very natural. You didn't, we couldn't tell that a camera was following you.
After a while, you forget.
Yeah. I know. I know. What year was that?
It was in 2000. It was filmed in 2008.
Okay. And
then it didn't air until 2009.
Right.
So the next year. Yeah.
Right. Because I saw that film. I saw it. It had to be 2010. I didn't see it in 2009.
Yeah.
And I saw it in 2010. Yeah. I watched it with my daughter, and we watched it. I fell in love with you. I was like, she is such a doll. Like, your behavior with your mother. It reminded me of the closeness and the bond I had with my daughter. And I was telling my daughter, you see how spoiled she is? You just like that. You see that? That's what you do. And she laughed, oh, I do that. And then when I ran into you at a function, the feminist function, I said, that's the Bronx Princess. Oh, you matured a lot. You had the baby face.
I did. Do you think I looked different?
You looked exactly the same, just a little more mature. You had the baby face. Going
it was definitely interesting to see how we interacted on camera. I think both of us didn't realize like how mean we were to each other. We watched it in the Walter Reed Theater during African Film Festival. And I was like, I wasn't really sucking my teeth at you at the situation.
It was so funny.
She was like, I didn't mean to call you nothing. It was so funny.
But you know what? Watching it, because I am a mother that has a daughter. Yeah. I didn't see you guys being mean to each other. I saw love, and you're being honest and being expressive of what you was feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it was
I didn't feel like you were being disrespectful as a daughter. I didn't feel like she was being disrespectful as a mother.
Those were some of the reviews we got, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got some on the Bronx Princess site. Some people were just like, Rocky is very disrespectful. They would say my mom is verbally abusive.
Oh my goodness.
And we were just like, what? Like,
I saw nothing but love in the eyes. And when you, that part was funny though. When you were in the shop and you sucked your teeth. Because see, I'm a mother. And it's like she took something off the counter and said, Rocky. She said, put that baby down. I said she's gonna hit her with that dope because it was and then I saw it in your eyes. You was like, I'm
not putting the baby down.
You was like, you would not put the baby down, and I understood, I identified with it, and that's what we go through as mothers. Like she wanted to pop you,
she did,
and it wasn't because the camera was on. She just was like, she did that. I said, ooh, Rocky. You better get it together, but you did. But I saw the love because when you came home and she cooked the rice for you, and you was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so good." And she smiled in her tears. It was a lot of love. So when you went to Ghana to see your father, because you haven't seen him in 4 years, was that your first time actually being in Ghana?
No, I had been to Ghana like periodically.
Okay.
I was raised a little bit in Ghana when I was very, very young. So from the age of like 1 to 4 years old, and then I came back to America. So I was raised very, very young, and then I would go periodically for the summer. So like when I was 12, when I was 10. But that was the first time that I went as like a young adult that I can actually remember. Okay, these are the relatives that I'm meeting. These are the places that I'm going. Because it was like distant childhood memories before that.
Okay.
And I never had a relative to go and visit. It was just extended family. Right. So my dad was there. That was like a closer connection for me.
Yeah.
So going to Ghana was just an amazing experience. I mean, it turned out to be completely different from everything that I expected. As you can see in the film, my family just has problems with the beach in general.
My daughter said to me, why she can't go to the beach in the morning? Because she said, not in the morning.
Exactly.
We go to the beach in the afternoon here. And my daughter said, well, why can't they go to the beach in the morning?
Exactly.
I didn't know either. I said, well, maybe it's too hot in the morning.
It was so hot.
Right.
I just wanted to cool down. It was so hot. It was so hot. There was nothing else to do. I just wanted to feel the water. And my dad was just like, no. I think he was just a little frustrated with, like, she thinks she's coming to run the show.
But you know what, not for nothing, Rocky. I watched the film a few times, maybe about 3 times. And yes, you were like daddy's little girl, and everything was going to be about you. And you like, oh, and where's my bed? And the people going to come and get me from the airport. Yes. And, it was funny, but it was cute. I still saw the love. And, that's what dads do. And he said, okay, I got to shut her down, and I saw the love there, too. And I saw just a spoiled girl. And where I come from, that means that you're very much loved. Yes, and I remember when your dad was telling you that you couldn't go to the beach, you had a major tantrum.
Yes, I was so upset. I mean, I think it was a culmination of a lot of things. It was not just the beach. It was just feeling like I couldn't do anything. And the frustrations with like going to a place you consider home and then not really feeling at home, and trying to reestablish or re-understand what home is. So that was one of my main frustrations in Ghana, is like not knowing where the people are at, not knowing where my relatives are at, not knowing where the spots are to go and meet other people my age. So feeling like sometimes locked in a little bit. And that was the same way that I was feeling when I was back home with my mom in the Bronx. And so I traveled like cross continents, cross oceans, and I felt a little bit of the same restriction that I felt in Ghana. So it was battling that and understanding what lessons to take away from it that I really had to learn from.
Right. And I guess maybe understanding that home is within. Home is within.
And it's creating connections too across kind of transcending your romanticized view of Africa too, and creating something that is a little bit more real. So it's not always like this place that you imagine, but something that's just a little bit more tangible. That was one of the things that I really took away from going to Ghana.
So I know that your dad is a chief.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean in Ghana?
I consider myself a titular princess, so I don't necessarily have any like power to make any real decisions. Though I would advise my dad on things that I think he should do. He oversees things like land disputes, production of the areas that he works in. So he would like pave a road or create markets or settle familiar disputes, kind of like a judge slash a mayor. And a lot of what they do works in tandem with the Ghanaian government already, because chiefs are a cornerstone of Ghanaian culture. They're very respected.
Yes.
They're a part of the like ancient royalty. So chiefs are given a lot of power and authority when it comes to land, and so that's what he does mainly.
Oh, okay, okay. So was I supposed to salute you or do some kind of?
If you were, I would not know. If you were, I would not. I honestly would not know, because I mean, as you saw in the film, I had no care for any type of formalities. Like, I remember speaking on the phone with my dad, and he's like, "You can't call me Mr. His name is Emmanuel Otoo, but now that he's become a chief, his name is Ni Ajedu, so he goes by his chief name." And I'm like, "You're still Emmanuel Otoo. You're still my dad." I have no care for the formalities, of course, but I had to learn them.
Absolutely.
As you saw when I got to the Ga Jashiche, where all the chiefs were, I had to bow. I had to learn them. And of course, I know how to conduct myself when I'm in the midst of royalty, and these are my family. So I had to conduct myself in ways that were respectful to those traditions as well.
Yes, I remember that part, and I was a little nervous for you.
Yeah, I was in the hot
You
seat.
was in the hot seat. All the elders were sitting around.
Yes. Sizing me up, judging me. It was hard, and then they were just like, "Oh, you don't speak Ga?"
Yes.
Oh my Lord.
How did that make you feel when they asked you that?
I mean, it's always been something that I've come across from my dad's side of the family, because my mom's side of the family is Tree, so we speak Ashanti. She's Ashanti, so we speak Tree.
Right.
And my dad is Ga. So I've always experienced that, like, how do you not speak Ga? You're royalty. Like, my last name is Otoo as well as a Ga name, so everybody expects me to speak Ga. Yes. But I understand Tree, and I don't speak it just because I don't choose to. It's like very difficult to form sentences and things for me, and I have a little bit of insecurity of sounding like American. But I'm sure, like, if I was in Ghana for an extended amount of time, I'd speak it. Yes. But I felt I definitely had my authenticity, like, on the table. Like, you're not Ghanaian enough. What are you doing here? I definitely felt really, really strange, but it's me. You know, I learned to negotiate who I am in those spaces and be proud of the things that I've been able to achieve in those spaces that I don't even feel comfortable, you know? So in that time, I was just like, I'm not completely Ghanaian. I'm Ghanaian American, and that means that I don't speak Ga. And you may not agree with that, but that's who I am. And my dad accepts me, my mom accepts me, and this is the person that is here that you're asking for a sponsorship opportunity to America. You know, so I learned in that moment, in that particular moment, to just handle my duality and just accept it. Like, I can't change it. I can't wish I was more Ghanaian. I can't wish I had a different type of definition. It's just what I've been blessed with, and I have to accept it.
Right. And you're still Ghanaian, and whether you speak Ghanaian.
Exactly. I have 100% Ghanaian heritage, blood. I'm still Ghanaian.
So I know you finished college.
I did.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I went to Dickinson College in Pennsylvania. Yeah, very small, like, private liberal arts college.
Okay, great. Yes. So you have a degree in
Africana Studies and Women's Studies.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. I definitely stuck to my passions. I know in the film I said I would do international relations.
Yes, I remember.
But it kind of manifested differently. I took a Black feminist thought class, and that was kind of the end of it for me. Like, it gave me a voice to all the things that I felt, all the things that you see manifesting in the film. Some of the ideas of, like, why can't I do this? Or why is this not acceptable because I am a woman? Some of those ideas manifesting in the film completely manifested in the education that I chose at Dickinson. And I'm really grateful because I had a lot of wonderful Black female professors that nurtured a voice in me, because I've always been in trouble for my mouth. As you can see, I always have been caught up with the things that I say. And so I've gotten a unique opportunity to really receive the nurture and the care to express myself intelligibly to anybody. And I'm always so grateful for that.
Yes, I'm grateful for it also. I remember in the film you said that to the teacher. You walked right up to him and you said, what you say, or you said something about, you say I'm prejudiced?
Yeah, my high school English teacher.
Yeah, your high school English teacher. That's what it was. And I said, well, she is going to go far. No, seriously, because nowadays you have to speak up. We need a strong voice. When I look into your eyes, I have so much hope. You are my future. Yeah. you know, my daughter's future. You know, my daughter watched the film and she adores you also.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to meet you, and you are the kind of role models that we need today. We need you, Rocky. There's a lot of pressure. That was going to be my next question. How much pressure am I putting on you? No, do you feel pressure? How old are you?
I'm 22.
Oh, wow, you're 22.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure among your peers?
Yeah.
Do you do?
At times, I feel like I don't get the luxury of a first impression sometimes.
Okay.
Because some people have seen the film already, they already expect for me to be a certain way, be somewhere in life, be achieving something. I think that fame or like success, sometimes being known, is cast on you before you really know what that means. You know, I don't consider myself famous or in any way a celebrity, but people see me that way in some cases, and they prescribe what they think you should behave as in those situations. So in that case, I do feel pressure sometimes, but I just try to remain as authentic as possible. Like, I'm a girl from the Bronx. I'm never going to forget where I am, what type of people I've been raised with. So I don't really let those pressures get to me. I just try to keep my head down and focus on what it is that I want to do. I want to be somebody that is considered a voice in the young African diaspora community, somebody that is from the streets, quote unquote, or from a not so glamorous background, you know, that still has the ability to communicate wonderful things from her community, you know. So that's why I chose to move back to the Bronx when I graduated college, to continue a lot of my work in the community, because I've gotten this privilege to get an education. It's only right that I go back and do something with that. And so those are the type of things that I'm trying to do.
That's great. Yeah. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5
years from now, yes. You'll be 27.
Yes. In 5 years, I don't even know. I have a passion for curating. I have a passion for putting on like exhibits and engaging artistic communities. So I would hope in 5 years I'd have some type of career curating exhibits or engaging young women and girls in these type of artistic communities. I hope. I mean, I'm kind of a non-traditional type of woman when it comes to work. So I hope to have my own business that serves the community in some type of way. I think Bronx Princess gave me a unique opportunity to engage a lot of communities. So I hope to continue work and sustain kind of intergenerational dialogue. And so a lot of things I'm doing now are trying to figure out what the community needs. What type of things are mothers and daughters talking about? What type of things are people of the diaspora or of African countries or African Americans talking about? And how can I use the skills that I've gained to create a sustainable conversation? So in 5 years, hopefully I'll have a company that does that.
Well, you are working on it. Aren't you a part of an association?
Yes. I'm starting an initiative.
Okay.
It's the Association of African Journalists and Writers. It's being headed by young Ugandan freelance journalists. We attended a lot of like journalism events in New York. There's a growing African media population. A lot of African magazines, a lot of African radio stations, newspapers, and we have no real coalition or infrastructure to sustain them. So they come with full force, with passion, and then they die out. So the association is hopefully to advocate and create a space where these professionals can come to network and meet one another and really, really advocate for the things that Africans need in New York when they get here. So representing African issues, talking from things from an African perspective, and creating coalitions too with African American communities, because oftentimes the opinions that African American journalists get on the continent are from CNN or from NBC or from stations that don't really represent African interests. So it's an opportunity for the two communities to organize and really do some coalition building.
Yes, right. So what are you doing in April?
Yes. April 23rd, I'm glad you asked. We're doing a film screening at the Adam Clayton Powell building.
Okay.
And so it's going to be a film. It's in conjunction with Al Jazeera. It's about the crisis in the Horn. So East Africa, the famine, a lot of the wars that are going on in those areas, a lot of the struggle for resources. It's a film that is talking about those issues. And we're doing a screening, inviting a lot of people in the community, writers, journalists, bloggers. If you do anything related to literature or writing, we want you to come out, watch this film, see the other people in the room, and engage another community, you know. And so it's an opportunity to just get together, talk about something that is of importance that is happening on the continent now, and see how we can network and create some real good initiatives for men.
Do you and your peers discuss the atrocities that are going on with women in Africa?
Daily. We have a lot of trouble finding out what it is that we can do in the diaspora sometimes to help those women, because I think I talk to some of my African American sisters and they feel the same frustration. Like, we have this opportunity here, what can we do? Sometimes we feel guilty that we're here and we're not on the continent, but we don't realize that some of the best work that we can do is here. And so we need to appreciate the leverage that we have being in America. And so I think a lot of the ways that I've begun to start engaging things to do about the conflicts is educating a lot of young women, educating the women that are here now. A lot of women come from all parts of Africa every day, and they arrive in New York. They have no resources. They don't know what their rights are. They're undocumented. There's a language barrier. So finding out ways that we can support those type of women. Otoo is a center for African women who does amazing work, amazing work. I try to support and volunteer for their initiatives as much as I can, because I want to make sure I have that direct contact, not like an indirect, like removed experience, but I want to make sure I'm engaging with those women right from the door. And so supporting organizations like Otoo or African Services Committee, African Hope, these communities are like in the trenches, doing the work. And that's why when I was at the United Nations, I asked, what can I do as an African American woman to assist? And I was connected to some agencies, some associations. I'm working with the Association of Chadian Women of New York. They need a lot of help also. So and I think part of it is doing what we're doing now, spreading the word, talking about it. That is definitely a step towards, and I think engaging a lot of sisters too will help. I think sometimes a lot of our African American sisters don't feel like they're connected. And that's why I feel so blessed to be Ghanaian American, is because I have the unique opportunity to connect. Like, I understand what it means to be a black woman in America. I understand the pain that comes along with being a black person in America, and as well the pain that comes along from being a colonial subject. It's a very unique experience, and I think I want to use somehow, some way, that experience to connect the two communities. So I think if we show African American women too that your opinion matters, you may not be from a particular country in Africa, but what you have to say about the status of African women is directly attached to your wealth and your well-being. I think that's something that needs to be established, because a lot of our sisters are removed. Like, well, I'm helping black women here, but I'm not necessarily sure what I can do for African women, or I'm not necessarily sure how that connects to me. So creating a connection, I think if we all realize that we kind of have connected destinies too, like what happens back there is going to affect what happens here. What happens here always affects what happens back home. We're watching one another and we're in dialogue. So if we kind of establish that, I think that will help as well. So I'm glad to be on your show.
And I'm glad to have you on my show. It started. This is how it starts. It has begun.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Rocky, for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to having you back.
Definitely. I'll be back anytime with your daughter, too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. There you go, Miss Rockyatu Otoo.
You said it well.
I love saying it, too. Rockyatu Otoo. I love saying your name. She'll be back. Make sure you join us next week for Africa in April.